Good afternoon, crafters. It has been a minute. This past couple of months has been an incredibly crazy and rocky ride for management, Anubis, and I. I'm glad to be back with you guys. Today starts a new chapter in the Crafters saga. We're back with some State of Decay 2 today. Hope you guys have been missing this content because I know I've been missing playing for you guys. To sum up everything that happened, the channel didn't make the earnings I expected. I went and got a part-time job to try to rectify the situation. The job didn't go as expected. The job has been released, and I got myself a new job delivering food and groceries, and we're going to try that out for a bit, but that gives me a lot more control and flexibility to do what I want to do, which is be here with you guys. So if you're new to the channel, this is your first time, welcome in. My name is KittyCraft. I stream on Twitch as often as I can, and while I haven't been doing it lately, typically I upload those videos to my YouTube channel. So, if this is your first time here, please check out my YouTube channel at KittyCraft0220 over on YouTube. I have been streaming a ton of Genshin Impact lately, mainly because there were a lot of events with that game. Also because Xbox went out on me and wouldn't let me stream for a while. I took a lot of steps to fix it, and here we are back again with a new tutorial series. So this is going to be a tutorial series for State of Decay 2, the Juggernaut Edition. This is available to anybody who has an Xbox because it's through Xbox Game Pass. So if you have Xbox and you have Xbox Game Pass, you can play this game 100% for free. No cash commitment other than having an Xbox and Game Pass. Now if you don't have Game Pass, I'm sorry, maybe ask a friend. When you open the main menu, if you don't have the Juggernaut Edition, I don't think you'll have Heartland or Daybreak as options, as those are both DLC for the game. Heartland is an additional story campaign run-through that takes place between State of Decay 1 and State of Decay 2 as kind of I can't think of the word. It's kind of a bridge between the two games. And then Daybreak is more of a wave-by-wave scenario where you just take on waves of zombies until either you win or they win. It is a counted wave process, so it's not indefinite, it's not unlimited. I want to say the number is 10. I want to say that's the magic number, but not necessarily. Welcome in, everybody. So what we're doing today is we're going to be looking at how to define your legacy, how to play campaign, how to do setup, how to do things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on campaign, and you can see I already have a community. They're called the Asylum. They're currently living in Meager Valley. If none of that means anything to you, that's okay. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing this, so that if you want to play State of Decay 2, but you're like, dude, I don't know where to start. I don't know anything about the controls. I don't know how to play. This is meant to bridge the gap between what the developers have set as a tutorial and the game itself. While I think the developers did a decent job setting up the tutorial, I think that there have been a lot of tweaks and gameplay changes between the time the game was released and the tutorial was released, and now where the game is out and functional and has had some changes. I will give it to the developers for having excellent live streams, up-to-date statuses, Twitter conversations, and all of that. But I think sometimes some people just need a little bit more explanation, and a little bit more detail. So this is the community screen. You have 5 empty save slots. You can see if a slot isn't taken, it says empty, start a new community, and you can have up to 5 saves of State of Decay 2 at once. My apologies if you can hear the wind. We've got 70-mile wind outside. If I lose you guys, I lose you guys. I apologize in advance, but I'm here right now, and that's all that matters. So, as you can see, I have 4 empty save slots, and in the middle it tells you I have a current gameplay that I last played February 21st, and my community has survived 8 days in the apocalypse. Um, that's all that's going on there. So, for the sake of this tutorial, I'm gonna get rid of this community. Now, everybody who got to see the asylum and got to see all of the steps and how they were, I know you all are sighing, you all are groaning, you all are probably pretty upset that I'm hitting the delete key, but don't worry. It's all just stuff, and we can do it again. And we will do it again. Unfortunately, I've just been gone too long to know what's going on, and I think a fresh start for all of us would be fantastic. Management is nodding-ish. She hates it when I have to let a community go, but it is what it is. It says survivors in the community will be kept because they're all saved to the pool. Nobody panic. Everything's fine. All right. So if you don't have any saves, this is what your screen's going to look like. 5 blank slots. When you go to play, it's going to ask you if you want to replay the tutorial if you've played the tutorial. Now, if you just downloaded the game right now, right here, and you open this screen, you wouldn't get an option to skip or replay or cancel. It would legitimately launch the tutorial. For demonstration purposes, I'm briefly going to go into the tutorial to show you what it looks like. When you choose to do the tutorial, it's going to bring you to the difficulty selection screen. In State of Decay 2, there are 5 levels of difficulty. Excuse me, I was drinking a soda, and apparently the soda's trying to choke me. Give me just a moment, crafters. Alright, a little bit more soda and I can breathe again. Isn't that funny how the thing that was preventing me from breathing is the thing I needed the most. Alright, so anyway, this is the difficulty adjustment. The easiest difficulty is something called green, and the hardest difficulty is called lethal. In between green and lethal, we have standard, dread, and nightmare. Each one of these has a tiny blurb about it, letting you know, basically what you're in for. In green, it says less dangerous zombies and plentiful resources, a more welcoming style apocalypse. When you move up to standard, the graphic changes and it says balance, danger, and resources, a fair challenge, not everyone will survive. At dread, you can see it's getting a little darker. It says deadlier zombies, larger hordes, and scarcer resources, a more intense threat to your survival. At nightmare, it's getting pretty red, and it says deadlier human enemies, freak hordes, and extreme scarcity, a punishment for something you did. And finally, the last level says, abandon all hope, ye who enter here. Seriously, you've been warned, and it's completely blood red. So those are the different levels and stages. If you want more information as to what each difficulty is about, or what you can go into the custom settings in the bottom left. That's what we're in right now, and you can see that the settings are based on 3 different difficulty sliders. The first one is called action, the second one is called community, and the last one is called map. The action difficulty controls freaking blood plagues, zombies, and combat. The community difficulty controls survivor management and base management skills, and the map difficulty controls the resources, gears and vehicle, and the blood plague. Now, if you don't know what blood plague is, and you don't know what freaks and blood plague is, let me explain as briefly as possible. In the game, there's 2 types of enemies. There's zombies, and there's enemy humans. Enemy humans are controlled by the combat difficulty under action. The zombies and freaks tab control the zombies. So you've got zombies and you've got humans. In the zombies category, you have basic zombies. You have blood plague infected zombies, which is a disease that will turn you into a zombie. And then you have something called freaks, which are special zombies that can be either infected or non-infected. We'll get into more once we're in the game. I think that's a good enough summary. Check with management to make sure I haven't gone off on a NyQuil trip, because lately I've been sick. I've been taking the NyQuil, and that stuff will mess up your brain. So if she's got it, we're good. Excuse me while I slurp on my soda. Alright. Sorry, guys. Lots of talking. I gotta hydrate. Okay. No one come for me because I'm drinking soda. It's been a long day. Alright. So that's just the basic information. If you want to read all this and go into more detail, get on the game. Take care of business. I don't want to read you all 5 levels in all 3 settings. I'm sorry, that's a little far for me. But anyway, if you want to get in here, I'm going to go one screen further, but that's it. So you'll come in here. If it's your first time, you'll get right to this. It'll say pick your difficulty. We'll just grab standard and keep going. You're going to get this spooky, scary skeletons loading screen. Just give it a moment. The game's processing. If it's your first time, I don't remember if it skips the screen or if it just gives you question marks, but you won't have these 2 cards that I have up here. These cards are referred to as boons. You unlock these cards by completing the game in this difficulty. So I've completed the game with 2 different leaders, a builder leader and a sheriff leader, both in standard zone. That's why I have 2 boons on screen. Again, if that doesn't make sense, that's not English. Don't worry, guys. The tutorial is going to explain it all. Just I'm showing you that I think when you come into the screen, it's all like locked how it is on the right-hand side, if I remember correctly. So it either skips the screen or it shows you locks. Either way, if it's your first time, you won't have access to this stuff. You will have access to this screen, which says choose your characters. So for the tutorial, you get to choose a duo to start with, 2 characters. Give me just a second, guys. I gotta adjust my window. Alright. Wind is coming in hot, guys. I just needed to close it a little bit because the blinds were banging against it. Nobody likes the blinds when they slap against the window. It makes a big old clonking noise. And it scares the daylights out of my dog Anubis, so whatever doesn't scare him is what we're going to go with. So in this screen, when it tells you your duo, it shows you your duo on the right. I'll just flip through a couple of them so you can see the pictures do change depending on which duo you pick from. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's 4. There's 4 options. Okay, the first one is always called the Surly Siblings. Well, their names change, the way they look and who they are is pretty much the same. They do sometimes change their traits. Don't worry if none of these words make sense. We're going through it one step at a time. So the first choice you always have will be the 2 characters you see on the right. Their names may change because it generates random names every time. But it's 2 siblings, a brother and a sister, that are going through the apocalypse together. You can see it says months after the apocalypse, you reunite with your estranged brother. So it's a sister and a brother that haven't really had a lot of time together, and now they're going through the apocalypse together. Their names and traits and stats change, but their appearance stays the same, and the fact that they're siblings will always be the same. In this case, the male sibling always has the skill of mechanics, and the sister never has a skill. That's just how they have it set up for the tutorial. Don't ask me why the sister can't be the mechanic. I didn't write the game. But you can see that this is Christopher and his sister, and Christopher grew up around cars and plans ahead, while his sister loved fast food and was a camp counselor. Your next option would be the Old Buddies. It's always these 2 guys, but again, their names change, their traits change, and sometimes their stats slightly change. But one of them will always have craftsmanship, and it's always the one on the right that has craftsmanship. So the guy in the green vest always has craftsmanship, and the dude in the really cool skull shirt never has a 5th skill. Yeah, I wish they would switch it once in a while, but that's not how it works. These are just 2 friends who have ended up in the apocalypse together, and they're trying to get through life. Their third option is the Perpetual Breakup. It's a lesbian couple who are always on the verge of ending their relationship. So they've dated and split at least 10 times over the years, but they're kind of hanging out together for the apocalypse. The one on the right is always a chemist, and the one on the left never has a 5th skill. Again, names, traits, they change, but appearance does not. So the blonde is always the chemist. Your last is the odd couple. It's a boyfriend and girlfriend who have considered themselves to be inseparable. You met in the woods, you survived from different worlds, but basically they were kind of like they were like living in the woods anyway, and then the apocalypse hit, and so they've got a good idea of how to go through life. Yep. And the one on the right, the lady, will always have gardening, and the guy never has a fifth skill, but he usually has pretty good traits. So those are the four options. You would accept whichever of the four scenarios best fits your playstyle. So you have two couples, a brother and sister, and two friends to choose from, and you'll be playing as them. I'm not going to spoil the tutorial because it has its own storyline. It's similar to the game, but not quite. It kind of goes a different way because it teaches you a lot of things. My tutorial is intended for somebody who has already gotten past this point. So if you just open the game fresh, go ahead and pick whichever duo you're most comfortable with and run through a copy of the game at whatever difficulty you want to. And if your questions aren't answered and you don't feel like you understand the game, throw me on pause and come back. And feel free to pick up after this point. Again, I would recommend doing the built-in tutorial before you come to my tutorial because I'm going to pick up after the point of the tutorial where you're starting your own custom game and teach you how to do that and the strategies I use to kind of go off on my own. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the tutorial, I'm just saying the developers did a very good job, in my opinion, giving you guys a tutorial, and I want you to give it a try before you come in to my version of tutorial. So for my purposes, I'm going to be exiting the tutorial screen now. But if you guys haven't played it, you go ahead, throw me on pause, throw me in the background, go ahead and run your own game. Now, for those of you who've already played the tutorial, and you're like, I want to do my own custom experience, or for those of you who heard what I said and said, I don't want a tutorial, boss, just tell me where we're going. That's where we're at. So we're going to go ahead and hit New Community, and we're going to use the option that says Skip Tutorial, because we don't want to do the tutorial. It takes you back to the same difficulty selection screen. You can pick Green, Standard, Dread, Nightmare, or Lethal. Just know that every time you bump up this little click, and the picture changes, things get a lot harder. They aren't joking about you abandoning all hope, ye who enter here, for Lethal. If you want an almost unplayable game, grab Lethal. If you want a mostly unplayable game that is extremely difficult, pick Nightmare. You want a somewhat balanced game with the odds still in the zombies' favor, pick Dread. If you want a balanced game, pick Standard. And if you want an easy peasy lemon squeezy experience, come with me on our journey in Green. Alright, I'm going to pick Green because I'm a baby. Not that I haven't played the game a bunch, just I'm a wuss. Your options for where you're going to go, there's a bunch of maps. For the tutorial, you only get to play on one map, and that would be Providence Ridge. But for Build Your Own Experience, you have a few options. The first option is the Randomize button. Now, this isn't where it starts you. It starts you in trouble. But the first option in the list, is the Randomize button. If you click this button, it's going to pick a map for you. It will apply your setting for what difficulty you chose, and it's going to throw you into whatever map it wants. And you can see that the home sites, it literally is just listed the first option from every single map. So you could end up in the Fireworks Fortress, Checkpoint Delta, Just No House, Vogel House, or Clarendon House, because those are the 5 starting houses in the 5 maps. So it's literally telling you, I'm going to pick you something, and you're going to live with it. If you don't want random, you can pick your map. The first map, the latest map that they've released, so the 5th map that they've released, it would be Trumbull Valley. This is the newest map that they've released. You can see on the right side, it has a list of places that you can live, the Checkpoint Delta being the free option, and all the other ones, we'll talk about those when we get there. It says Trumbull Valley lies nestled in the shadow of Mount Tanner. Crafty survivors appreciate the unique bases and story elements, while the survivor and all of us values the ample weapons and ammo available. Tread lightly, explore rightly, and bring some really big guns. Its landmark outpost is the Ecolab, which unlocks crafting options for plague samples. Again, if that means nothing to you, that is okay. We're all meant to be here in our different ways. Providence Ridge was the first map that they released for this game, as I understand it. It's the oldest map, and it's kind of clunky. It includes the following places. You got Fireworks Fortress, Rusty Rosie's, Western Builder Supply, Prescott Fire Station, and the Lungard Lumber Mill. It's got a landmark outpost called the New Hope Church, and it says, home to a region's famous lumber mill, Providence Ridge was fueled by the hustle and bustle of the logging industry. Now in stasis from the first days of the outbreak, the mountain valley stands as a testament to the world as we knew it and what we hope to rebuild. Next up we have Cascade Hills. You can see on the right there's a whole bunch of options with this bad boy. It says Cascade Hills is home to several small streams and rivers with unique rock formations that make it a beautiful place to live. Its gently rolling hills host abandoned railroad tracks which pass by its rock quarry, a wonderful place to establish a brighter future. Its landmark outpost is the Leeds Concrete Silo. We have Meager Valley, again a whole bunch of places to live. It says Meager Valley boasts some of the most fertile farmland in the apocalypse. A small river runs through its center, and the farmers are on the cutting edge of modern power production with a small wind farm on its east side. Don't miss out on visiting Lake Quinquela and come back often. Landmark outpost, the wind farm, provides power throughout the valley. And lastly, the fifth and final map we're going to discuss, because it's the only other one, is Drucker County map. It says Drucker County is on a plateau bisected by a treacherous canyon. It's adorned with a mesa and some of the best medical facilities you'll find anywhere. Drucker is the perfect place to rest and recuperate once you've cleared out the zombies, of course. And its landmark outpost is Sasser Regional Hospital. So those are the 5 options available to you. Again, if you don't care where you're going, pick random and it will pick for you. In our case, I have a specific route chosen, so we're going to start with the first map, Mr. Providence Ridge. This is the first map that was offered to everyone, so we're going to start here. If you just ran through the tutorial, you're going to recognize this map, as this is the map included in the tutorial, as I've already said. We're going to go ahead and pick Providence and get going. Sorry for all the chatting, folks. I'm just trying to explain things one piece at a time. Some people say it's too much, but I'm trying to explain it in a way that nobody can misunderstand what's happening. Alright, as you unlock these cards, you can see there's 4 types of leadership. Builder, Warlord, Trader, Sheriff. We'll get more into depth in each of these categories as we go through. Right now, you guys don't need to worry about these boons, as if this is the first time you're playing through it, you probably don't have more than one of these. If you complete the tutorial, you can get the card for whatever difficulty you've completed. Fun fact, if you complete it on a higher difficulty, it unlocks at that difficulty and below it. So if you complete a card on lethal, it unlocks them for all difficulties. Just to be clear. I hope that made sense. Since I'm in the green tutorial, it's showing me, you can see in the standard zone I only had 2 cards, now I have 4 cards, as I have completed at least one legacy with each leader type, so that I have access to all the cards. For me personally, I like to start with the Trader card, because it gives you 4,000 influence, which is the money of the game. I like to start with the Builder card, which gives you base-wide power and water with no fuel cost or threat. Then I go ahead and hit go. And this is the next page you're going to be greeted with. 3 empty slots. Now you might be like, Kittycraft, I've already picked my save location. That's true, guys. You have already picked your save location. This isn't a save location. You're allowed to pick 3 survivors to start your experience with. Give me just a second. I've got to refill my drink. Alright, crafters. Got myself, I think, the last of my drink available to me. And I've rearranged my other drink, so I'm good now. Anyway, we've got the 3 survivor slots, and you're going to go ahead and pick 3 people to start your apocalypse. If you don't have people in your saved community, because you're just coming fresh from the tutorial, and you didn't save anybody, because at the end of every time you play through the game, you're allowed to say, hey, I want to keep these survivors for future use. If you didn't do that, you don't have anyone, you need to choose the recruit option. The recruit option pulls up, the random option. The random option is going to pull up a character card for you, and it's going to tell you the person's first and last name, what they prefer to be called, which is the name in white above the first and last name, their health level, which is their HP, the little running man indicates their stamina. Below that, you're going to see their leadership type, and under traits, you're going to see anywhere from 1 to 4 options. It can spawn up to 4 traits. Each card can grow traits as you play it if it doesn't have 4 traits already. In this view, the most I've ever seen is 3, allowing you to get 1 trait in game. Next is going to say skills. It will always have the boxes for cardio, wits, fighting, and shooting available. Just depends, like you can see, they can have 0 stars or they can have up to 7 stars. So anywhere between 0 and 7 can spawn on this card. In this case, this woman didn't get any cardio, but she got 4 points of wits, 1 point of fighting, and 1 point of shooting. That is everything on the card. Now, some cards, let's see if we can find one. There we are, have a 5th item under where it says shooting. That 5th item is called what we refer to as a 5th skill. The 5th skill is a specialization that the person has basically specialized in. That's what specialization really means. In this case, Jaden here has specialized in one of the 1-star skills. There's 2 types of 5th slot skills. There's one like this, that's a 1-slot skill, meaning once they learn it, they know it, and perfect. And there's also 5th skills that are like medicine, where you have to earn 7 stars to be considered proficient. When you fill the medicine bar, and when you get all 7 stars, it gives you a 2nd skill, which basically specializes it again, and you'll have to fill it fully again. So the ones with more stars are more work. The ones with a single star, you learn it, you get to use it right away. People have varied opinions on the internet which method is better. A lot of people say that they prefer the 1-star skills because once they get the 1-star skill, whether it's through reading a book or they came with it, the character's done, and you don't have to level them, you don't have to build it, you don't have to look for skill books, you don't have to do anything. Other people prefer kind of customizing it because when you get to the top of each field, like for medicine and any of the 5th skills, there's 2 tracks you can go on, and a lot of people like the option to choose between the tracks and basically customize their character a little bit more. Speaking of choosing between the tracks and customizing, at the top of each one of the main 4 skills, that is cardio, wits, fighting, and shooting, you get to choose from 4 subcategories. I don't remember them off the top of my head at the moment, but as we go through, should jog my memory to remind you guys what they are. It's just, it has been a minute. I've been playing a lot of Genshin Impact, as I said earlier. So this is the process you will go through, and you don't have to take your first roll. Let's say you don't like this Aiden card. You say, I don't want a passive-aggressive person in my community, as each one of these traits may or may not have an effect. Trait effects can be neutral, meaning they don't do anything. They can be positive, meaning they have a good effect on your group, or they can be negative, and those are positive traits are highlighted in green once you get in game. Negative traits are highlighted in red once you get in game, and the neutral traits are highlighted, I think, in gray. And just to show you what I mean, I am going to go ahead and start right here, just for a moment. It's not going to be permanent. I just want to show what some of these traits look like in game. So we're going to go ahead and just briefly start with these. This is not going to be our community, guys. Don't panic. I just want to show you what it looks like in the next area. Alright, once you get in the map, guys, this is what your map's going to look like. This big old yellow arrow in your screen is indicating it would like you'd like to walk up here. The orange arrow. I said yellow because apparently I'm colorblind today, folks. Management caught me. Like I said, lots of NyQuil, lack of sleep. Anyway, the orange arrow. If you're colorblind, you'll be following around. The arrow on your screen indicates where you're supposed to be going. We're not going to do that. You can see this right here. It's telling us there's a vehicle next to us and it doesn't have any fuel. And this big old nasty red area is called a plague heart zone. That whole red area is controlled by this big nasty plague heart. Okay, that's the basics. So you'll get in, you'll see that you have people, you'll go to your community tab. This community tab tells you the name of your community. In this case, they generated with The Last Hope, which, okay, that's a pretty cool name. And you'll see the 3 people we selected in the previous screen are now here and are now selectable. You can click on any of these people and you can highlight them in their different tabs to see more information. So in this case, Miss Syra, who is our first pick, she believes that she is a sheriff. Sheriffs have a priority to protect the innocent and deliver swift justice to those who would harm them. And in this case, if she becomes a hero, we'll talk about what that means in a second, she gets 20% less fatigue severity. You can see what I mean by good text and bad text. So when I came down to the traits, you see that the first skill, Youth Counselor, just says it affects the skills but doesn't do anything else. The Soup Kitchen Volunteer just kind of has text. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't affect your skills. It's just letting you know that she's seen what real hunger looks like. That's her quote about being a Soup Kitchen Volunteer. And then she tires quickly, which you can see she gets a green trait of really liking luxury bed facilities, but she gets 2 red traits that affect her max stamina by a -20, and she gets 33% fatigue severity. That's why up here you can see that her stamina is 80. Standard is 100, but her stamina is at 80. So, is what it is. And you can see that at 0 stars, there's no bonus to cardio, but because she's got like 4 stars in wits, for example, she has a 20% search speed, her 1 star in fighting is giving her +4 to her max health, and her 1 star in shooting gives her a -3% in both firearm sway and recoil, and a +6% reload speed. So as you build your stars, things matter and you need to be reading. This is one of those games where you kind of have to do your reading while you're going into it. In comparison, we have somebody like Aiden, who is a warlord, and if he becomes a hero class, again, we'll talk what that means in just a moment, he gets -10% melee durability loss. However, my boy down here, he's got 2 that affect his skills, being a hospital admin, that's where he got his medicine from, and Blade Collector, I'm not sure the effect it has, but I believe that's why he has an increase in his fighting. But you can see his passive-aggressive trait actually does a double negative. He's the target when conflicts occur, and he has 10% standing rewards. Standing rewards, think of it as a XP system for your character. It means he's going to level up 10% slower than quote-unquote a standard character or a character without that Bane. Boons are good things, banes are bad things. And the red text is definitely a bane. It's a bane against your character. It's a negative trait that's affecting him negatively. Again, you can see he's got a little bit of bonus. In his case, he's got 4 points of fighting, so he's got +16 max health. And you can see down here, having the medical skill at his current level, he can offer medical advice via the radio, and he has knowledge of medicine. Lastly, I just want to show you the difference between that and something like a 1-star skill, where you can see the current level he's already performing. All of his bonuses have come in for this. To get the bonuses from a levelable 5-star skill like medicine or any of the ones that have 7 stars, you have to finish filling this first level of medicine, specialize, and fill it again. With this, you automatically get your bonuses. At this point, just knowing sleep psychology gives the community +4 morales and the access to 2 beds. He's just going to arrange for 2 people to sleep somewhere, just magically. And that's from being a sleep researcher. Unlike the other 2 people, you can see he has green bonuses. Being a fitness boxer means he really would enjoy having a fighting facility. And being into cheesy movies means that if we built a facility that gives a projector or a way to watch movies, he would really enjoy that. He has cardio experience rate, meaning he's going to train his cardio much faster at 50% the speed of everyone else, and he believes he's a warlord. That's kind of what you look for in this. There is a base screen, but it's not very useful when you first start. I don't want to get into this screen until we have a base and we're moving. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get back out of here again. I just wanted to show you that traits matter. That was my point of that whole little side route that we just went down. I wanted to show you that there's good traits, there's bad traits, there's levelable traits, and it's a lot, guys. I will admit, I'll give it to you, it's a lot. So now we're gonna set up for a community we're actually gonna use. I don't use random survivors, and I just picked the wrong map. But once I get there, you'll see that I have pre-selected survivors. If you mess up and you need to go back, you do have to pass this page to get out of here. You can't go back until this page for some reason. So if you make any mistakes during your first screen selection, don't feel bad, because I just did it because I wasn't paying attention. And you can always exit on that screen. Alright. So, let's try that again, but with our brain engaged and ready to learn, right? As you can see, just because you jump on YouTube doesn't mean you've got the biggest brain among us. My brain is fueled by lack of sleep and NyQuil, and you might be saying, why are you taking NyQuil during the day? Well, I ordered DayQuil, but they didn't bring me DayQuil. They brought me NyQuil, so we're making it work. Anyway, I want to go to Providence Ridge, like I said. That didn't change. Just who I want to bring changed. Alright, crafters, we're back. So I'm going to go ahead, like I said, pick Trader, and Builder. If you have favors, you want to bring favors, no big deal. Instead of choosing random, I'm going to use the Recruit option. Recruit will open my Legacy Survivor pool, which is just a collection of up to 50 survivors that I had pulled out during the gameplay. And I'm like, these are people I want to survive with again and again and again and again. These are people that are goated with the sauce, and in my opinion have passed a multitude of tests to hang out with me. I'm going to go ahead and pick my 3 that I usually start with. So I'm going to grab him, and where is she? And her. We'll get into why I picked who I picked later, but these are my 3 starter characters. If you have different characters, go ahead and pick who you want to pick, or go ahead and roll your options now. I'm going to go ahead and jump into my community. Join me whenever you're ready. Again, you can throw me on pause, swipe away, come back later, all that good stuff, and you can join me when you're ready to jump in on the experience.
Again.
So, whose turn is it to find more fuel?
Not me. Last time I accidentally stumbled on a juggernaut.
I got a better idea. We could just settle down here instead of moving on.
I admit, it looks better than the last couple of towns we came through.
Now that you mention it, it does feel kind of homey.
It's settled. This town is where we'll set up our new base. We just have to find a spot that's defensible, maybe with some room to expand.
Alright. Sorry guys, I was doing a stretch, that's why I let my people have a moment to talk. So, we're here. These are my 3 survivors. Oh my gosh, I rolled an awesome community name. My community is called the Unbitten. Yep. I have never rolled that. I've never rolled that before, so good sauce, guys. Thanks for the good roll. Alright, so when you come in, you'll have your 3 people you started with. If management says I can't delete it now, she's so gung ho on me. Stop deleting things. All right. So we are the Unbitten, and they include 3 of my legacy characters: Hannah, Beeper, and Farhat. We'll get into why they're here. If you're wondering why I have a glowing circle in the middle, it's because if you select characters that you pull from your pool, they come in automatically at hero class. We'll explain what that means in a minute, but right now we gotta go secure our base. So whether you come in with people you used before, or you come in with brand new people you've never seen in your life, this first step remains the same. You gotta navigate yourself to the house icon, because that's where you're gonna be staying. Will your experience be smooth like mine? Maybe. I mean, you're still going to have to fight zombies on the way. That's kind of the whole game. But my characters are pumped up and ready to go, so I'm probably going to have a bit of an easier existence than you are, just a little bit.
This place looks good to me. Time to stake our claim and move in before someone else shows up.
Alright. Once you get in, you're going to see a place with like a little white flag over it. That's how you claim your home site. When you click on it, it's going to say this is the whatever. In my case, it's the Firewatch Fortress. It's going to tell me how many slots are in the base and any built-in facilities will be listed. This is the free base, so I'm going to say let's take it. You're going to establish your home. All right, we're in. We now have a base screen. You saw before we didn't have a base screen. Now it's telling you that you have access to the Firewatch Fortress, or whatever your base is called, depending on which of the 5 maps you've selected. They do depend. Each one has a different starter base because it's a different map.
To improve this place.
I think it would be a good idea to do some scouting.
All bases will have a minimum of 2 parking spots. I don't think I've ever seen a base with less than 2 parking spots. The most parking spots you can have at a base is 4. So it goes 2, 3, and 4. Those are the different styles of parking that you can have. Parking is intended for you to put a vehicle there. Storage. That is a built-in facility on all bases. It is intended for you to keep your resources in, and it is upgradable. You will always have a command center. This is where you kind of it's like the brain of your base. I'll explain more as we get further into it, and you're always going to have some sort of sleeping option built in. In this case, there's a built-in 4-bunk Firewatch tower that's providing 4 people the ability to stay here. Your bed count determines how many survivors you can have at your base. Because if you go over the number of beds provided, so say I put 5 survivors in the base without making like accommodations for them, people are going to become exhausted. You're not going to have a very good experience because there's a sleep timer for each one of your survivors, and if they can't get enough sleep, then life gets very difficult for you. Any squares marked with a brown, either a brown solid line or a brown dotted line, are squares that are intended to be buildable. For the Firewatch Fortress and some bases throughout the game, you'll notice that you get started with like a starter facility. In this case, this infirmary is considered a starting facility. You can remove this because this is a customizable space. Again, if it's brown, you can change it, you can alter it. If it's blue, it's built in and there's nothing you can do about it. So this is considered a small slot. There are larger slots in bigger bases, but this base doesn't have any large spots, it just has small spots. So they've given me an infirmary in this base to start with, and then 2 blank spots. If I don't want the infirmary, I can remove it. By clicking on the infirmary and choosing destroy, it takes me 1 second, they'll tear it down, and then I can build whatever I want. As you can see, this is a building. It has a picture depicting what it is. The infirmary has like a stethoscope and a little needle to tell you, hey, this is where your medical treatment is being done for your people. Below that, you'll see there's a little water droplet and a little zigzag. That indicates that there's power and water to this facility. The card that I took at the beginning when I launched the game, that's where that power and water is coming from. I haven't done anything. I've applied a boon card to my game, which is allowing me to have power and water. If you don't have that card, those will be grayed out for you. But because I have the card, that's what I've got. That's why it's already got power and water. You've got several different things. These are actions you can take in the facility. These are just different things you can do with it. This is an upgrade button. You can see we don't have the supplies to upgrade it. If we did, it would be colored in and ready to go. And it would take me 2 minutes and 18 seconds to do the process. And it would need 2 little people. That little people icon means how many survivors you need to have not doing another task in order to upgrade it. Outside of that, there's a slot called mod. Mod is, well, you pick up different things that you can apply to your different facilities through the game. Mod means what it means in every single game. It's an item that you're going to add to the facility to change how the facility functions. That's the most basic generic way I can think to describe it. So that's kind of the overview of what's going on over here. On the far right hand side, you're going to see there's two little circles, and it says the word outposts. Outposts are facilities that you can take over that are not part of your base. So they're facilities that are out in the wild that you can take over for different effects. And when you first start, you get 2 of them. You get the option to add 2 outposts to your base just by having a command center. If you read the command center, it says, lets us spend influence to locate resources or survivors, determines outpost limit, upgrade to raise the limit, and allow facility mods. So this is unmoddable at the moment, but if you upgrade it for this cost, you'll get the ability for 1 new outpost for a total of 3 outposts, and you will unlock the map exits. Basically, you can't leave the map right now. That is an option in State of Decay 2. You can transition it between their maps, but you have to unlock the ability by upgrading your command center. That's too much information. Don't worry. We're going to go through all this stuff a little bit at a time. I'm just trying to tell you what some of these things are. So if you're really speedy on the pickup, you're going to be like, I'm good to go. Thank you so much. Have a good day. If you're a little bit slower like me and you need a little bit more time, don't worry. I've got you. I'm with you. We're here together. Just trying to be at everybody's speed everywhere all the time. All right. On the far left, you've got the home status. These boxes over here are different things. The first box is the resources box. These are things that you bring to your base that you can use. In this case, you'll see we have 4,200 of something called influence. Influence is earned. It's a currency in the game. Think of it as your money. That's how you buy new things. You can buy survivors. You can buy items. You can buy new places to stay. There's a lot of things you can buy, but that's your money. Under that, don't worry about that special currency under the 4,200. That 2,961 is part of the Daybreak expansion. If you don't have the Daybreak expansion, that means nothing to you. If you have the Daybreak expansion, there's some additional things you can do because of having it in the game, but I won't be covering that in my tutorial series because I don't personally use it, and it's not base game, and I don't want, exactly what management said, I don't really want to confuse those people who don't have access to it, because this is meant for everybody to basically pick up the game and play it and try to get you through it. So don't worry about the 2,900. I have that, but if it doesn't apply to you, we're not going to talk about it. If you click on this box, you'll get a detailed view. So right now, what this big ugly red text means is that the 3 people that are living in my base are eating 1.125 resources per day. That's how much food they're costing me every time a day card pops up. Day cards are just the way that it kind of keeps track of how many days you survived. Like you saw with my first community, if you've been in here for a minute, it said 8 days. Every time a day card pops up, a day has passed. In my opinion, the days don't really take long enough, but that's neither here nor there. So every time a day card pops up, it's going to charge me 1.125 food right now, and I've only got 6 food. Every time that day card pops up, it's going to charge me 2 medicine. Now you might say, how is that possible? I see some green text there. You're right. Because of one of my survivors, she brings in every day card to medicine. So if you see a +2, -2, this is basic algebra. Basic arithmetic. +2 -2 equals 0. That's what it says in the left-hand column, +0. What +0 means is that I'm being charged 2 medicine per day, but because Hannah is a part of my community, she's paying the price. She's paying the cost of 2 medicine per day, meaning that while we don't get any income and my medicine isn't going to go up per day card, it's not going to go down per day card. It's going to stay the same every time the day changes, unlike the food, because basically there's give and take. If that confuses you, I'll try to go over it a little bit further in the future when I've got changes that have been made. You can see there's no other pluses or minuses on anything else. It just is what it is. We have 3 materials to our name and just about nothing else. In our community, you can click on this. It will tell you our total population currently is 3. Available labor is determined if any of your survivors are doing an action for you. They will not be considered available labor because they're doing an action for you and they're not available. That one's pretty simple. The available beds, this one took me a minute to understand what it's talking about. So the available beds in this facility are 2. Here's how we got there. There are 4 beds provided by this facility. That's what the first line's telling you. The second line says you currently have 3 people that are using them. That's why it's red. One of my people has a passive bonus where he doesn't use a bed. Mr. Beeper, he takes power naps, so he doesn't sleep in a bed. He just like lays down, I guess, on the floor and crashes out for a little bit and then comes back. And so he doesn't actually use a bed. So that means currently I have 2 beds available. Because I only have 3 people, so that's 1 bed. And then Beeper is not using a bed, so that's how we got to the number 2. I'm sorry if that didn't make sense. I can try to say it again. If anybody doesn't understand, drop it in the chat, drop it in the comments. If that didn't make sense, I'm happy to go over it again, maybe a little slower, but I'm hoping for the majority everybody's good on the simple arithmetic. 4 minus 3 plus 1 equals 2. Alright, moving on. This is your morale status window, and the current status is empowered, and you can see there's different effects that have happened. There's a little bit of a glitch right now because I had a previous community. 3 of the survivors were part of that community, and they still have a buff from their previous community that they killed a play cart. That's a bug, and they're trying to resolve it. That shouldn't have come up, but I'm not going to hate the plus 20 morale right now. I'm just letting you know, normally that will not show up. I don't know why that's there. The developers have said they're going to try to prevent that from happening because they're basically, when they're in the locker, they're not supposed to be like remembering their previous adventures. But anyway, after that, you can see Miss Hannah has a couple of bonuses. She was a cancer survivor and she hated Thanksgiving, so that gives me a plus 7 just to have her in the community. And then because I'm playing on the baby level, the Sissy Lala level, I get plus 15. Again, please disregard the plus 20. It's a little bit of a bug. I don't hate it, but it's there. In the next effects column, these are all the effects that your community is going on. You can see there's a whole bunch of things that say knowledge. My people are pretty built. Your people will not look like this. This is just how my people are. Anything that affects your people are going to come in here. Anything that they know how to do. We'll go into the character cards in detail in just a moment, but that's where it shows your effects. So anything the characters do, anything your base is doing, it's going to tell you about it under effects. So if you're ever wondering, hey, what's going on? It says you can view all the positive and negative effects affecting your community right in that bucket. Last one's a threat level. There's 3 stages. There's like minimal, a middle tier, and then, hey, you really trashed up and you've alerted all zombies that you exist. Pretty easy to understand. When you click on it, you can see whatever's affecting it as well. In my case, I have a plus 3 noise level because I have 3 people living in my house. So 3 people are living and they're surviving and they're thriving, and that's why my risk assessment is a plus 3. You can go up to a max of 20. At 20, bad things are happening to your base. Just is what it is. Alright, so that's that screen. You can always go over to the difficulty screen to adjust your in-game difficulty. In this menu, you can do 2 separate functions. 1, you can change your difficulty and click accept. So like if I wanted to go to standard, I just switch whatever I want over to standard. If I want fully standard, I click all the way over there. That would move my entire game level from standard to green, or green to standard, sorry. You can see at the top, to get the boon and achievement difficulty, you have to have all 3 toggles on that difficulty. If one toggle's on the previous difficulty, so you can move up 2 of the settings without changing your boon and achievement difficulty. Yes, this does mean that you can set 2 of these all the way to lethal and still not get the boon and achievement difficulty of anything higher than green if you don't move the toggles. So if you're trying to get a higher level boon and achievement level, you need to make sure you move all 3 toggles and you don't leave one behind. Because whatever the least level is set to, that's what it's going to take. That's where it's going to grab from. If I have one on Nightmare, you can see the top says the boon and achievement difficulty is set to Nightmare. If I have it on Dread, Standard, Green, wherever the least level is, that's what it's going to take. Just letting you guys know fun facts. If I don't change the difficulty, the accept button goes away, but I can always use this button. When you click the restart map button, it says this action resets Providence Ridge, which is the map we're currently on. You will remain in your current base with refreshed loot sites and new enclaves. You receive refunds for all outposts and facility costs, and you keep any parked vehicles. What that means, if you have any facilities you've built, it will tear them down. If you've gained access to any outposts, it will remove them. You will keep any vehicles that are in a parking spot at your base. And all places that you have looted and gone through will be now set to an unlooted state. So if you want to stay on one map forever, you can use the restart map button on the screen to make that a reality. I don't want to do that right now, but that is definitely something you can do. This last screen is your map screen. This is how you know where you're going and what your threat level is and what's going on around you. These little green icons, well, those are specialty zombies. There's a bloater and a screamer both standing over here. I know it's only toggling the bloater, but just from gameplay experience, I promise there's a screamer there too. Those are 2 types of those freak zombies we discussed earlier. Freaks are, again, just specialized zombies that have a function. A screamer is kind of like a annoying little sister or brother. It alerts all the zombies to your presence. A bloater is a zombie that's full of gas that will explode, and if it's red and puffy and full of infection, it will give you infection and gas you. If it's green, then it just gases you. There's also 2 other types of freak zombies. There's one called a juggernaut, which is a supersized zombie that can rip you in half. And there's a zombie that's on all 4. It's called a feral, and it's extremely fast and likes to slash at you and cause a number of really nasty injuries. But they're always marked on icons on green. I think in the higher difficulties it doesn't mark them for you, so that's fun. This big red icon again is a plague heart that basically is another type of threat. It's a big mushy, fleshy heart. You'll see. I'll show you guys, don't worry, we'll get into all that good stuff. And all of these unmarked building squares are actual buildings you can loot. So they're all buildings. You have to do a thing called scouting to figure out what's actually in the area. All these binocular sites are scouting locations. Once you unlock a building, you'll get a card like this. In this case, this is a scouting site known as the Northeast Cell Tower. It says it's a question mark indicates that it contains random loot. And it tells you there's 2 containers to search there. If you kill all the zombies at this location and you secure the site, you can use it as a potential radio outpost. If you claim it, you'll get a permanent safe area, access to something called a signal booster. You can gain or improve your computer skill, extend your scouting range. It will cost you 200 of your currency, which is influence. Like I said, you can buy things with it. And it will cost you 1 outpost slot, and it will tell you how many you have. I have 2. So that's all the information about the Northeast Cell Tower. If you want more information about these other buildings, you got to do, like I said, the scouting thing. That gets back to our detailed view of your community. When you click on a character, you notice my characters are completely filled out. They'll have 4 traits. I believe almost all of my people have 4 traits. And you'll just see different information. In my case, my first character I chose is Miss Hannah Moss. She goes by the name Hannah. She has 168 health. She has a 171 stamina. She's currently feeling empowered, which means she feels on top of the world right now. There are multiple levels of standing in a community. Community standing kind of relates to how your survivors perceived in the community. When you first recruit somebody into your community, if you meet them in game, I think they're an outsider. That means you don't know anything about them. You have no idea who they are. what they've done, what they're doing there. An outsider is the stage before you recruit them. Then you recruit them. I believe they become a recruit. You get to know a little bit more about them. Then they become a citizen, and you get to know more about them. Then they become a hero. You get to know even more about them, and they gain a hero bonus. And the last level is a level called leader. And that leader, you not only unlock a hero bonus, but you unlock a leadership speciality. Again, there's 4 types of leadership in game. There are sheriffs, there are warlords, there are builders, and there are traders. Those are the 4 types of leadership styles that you have. I have 3 of them in my community right now. Hannah is a trader leadership style. Her style fights scarcity by producing valuable goods and trading them for necessities. Basically, her goal in building a new community is to make money accurately, quickly, establish dominance by having high value items for sale and having the most money on the map and a good line of trading. Next, I have Mr. Beeper. His name's Caleb McKinnon, but he goes by the nickname Beeper. He has 168 health. Apparently he took a slap on the way in, that's why he's only at 156 of 168. And he has 151 stamina. He's also feeling empowered, and you can see he also has his hero bonus fully. In fact, we'll talk about the different hero bonuses a little bit later. It might be a little bit too much right now. And then you can see he's got different things there. In there, it tells you because he takes power naps, he doesn't use a bed, and he has a bonus to his max stamina. And he is a sheriff. The sheriff leadership class, like I read you earlier, their first priority is to protect the innocent and deliver swift justice to those who would harm them. And then the last one that I have in the community right now, at this moment, is a warlord class. This man's name is Farhat Malik. He goes by Farhat. He has 168 health, 131 stamina. He's feeling super empowered. And he's a warlord who believes that you establish peace through strength, you build an arsenal and destroy all outside threats, whether zombie or human. So each of these people has a slightly different build. We'll talk about that in just a second. So as you go through, you can read every little bit of this. So Hannah, I've read you her first section. Her second section, they're all heroes standing because I pulled them from my box. If you don't pull from your box and you get randoms, they'll come in at the tier below hero. They'll come in at the citizenship level, and they will not have their hero bonuses active. You'll have to kind of work with them to get their hero bonuses up. That bonus applies to the first 3 characters you pick. If you bring in any additional characters, which is something you could do now in game, they will come in as citizens, so I can show you what it looks like. But your first 3 will always come in if you pull from your box with their hero plan activated. You'll notice I have 2 that have the exact same hero plan. That's because I roll for specific characteristics when I'm looking for a character, and one of them I really like is Back from the Edge. It gives your community plus 15 max health to the entire community, meaning that everybody gets a health buff. So Hannah's true health is 168 minus plus 15. So minus 15 to her health is her actual true health that she has earned. But she's providing at least a 15 bonus, and because I have another one, you have to actually minus 30 because they do stack. I believe they stack up to 3. I did max it out, and when I had a 4th one, it didn't count the 4th one, but the health bonus stacked up to 3. There's a stamina bonus that says plus 15. That one also stacks up to 3. I'm sorry I don't remember the name of that hero bonus offhand, but there is one that mirrors the health one. I don't have it in my pocket, but it has plus 15 max stamina instead, and that again stacks up to 3. The guy in the middle has a different thing. He has something called Meal Plan. What Meal Plan does is it stacks 3 times, and each stack provides 25% less food consumed for the community. So the number that I told you earlier, 1.125, I believe, is the amount of food that they're eating based on the fact that he is monitoring what they're eating. You can add 2 more characters to this for a total of 75% less food, and I actually have enough characters to do that. So I'm going to show you guys the journey of what it looks like from at the beginning with just 1 meal plan to what it looks like with 3 meal plans active. It's a lot less food than a standard community. So basically he's saving us food usage by having this. Excuse me, I had a little bit of cough there. Basically there are 2 mechanics you really, well, I guess there's 4 mechanics you have to worry about overall during gameplay. Stamina usage makes people tired, so the more stamina you put out, the more tired the character becomes. When the character becomes exhausted, they become almost impossible to operate. That's why you need to allow characters to rotate through and go to bed. If you don't have enough food in your community, your characters can go into starvation, and that can kill your characters. This is a permadeath game. If a character dies, you've lost that character. Outside of starving to death, they can take too much damage and die that way as well. Lots coming at you very quickly. After the community standing, each character gets up to 4 unique traits. In Hannah's case, one of her traits just affects her skills. I believe she came in with a higher cardio rate because she was a high school mascot. Then she came in with 7 morale bonus, which literally just directly impacts the morale of the community. And then I taught her, where it says learned about lichen, that means I gave her a book. I educated her and I gave her the lichenology for the skill, which is how she's paying for the infirmary. She knows basic gardening, basic herbalism, and she brings in 2 meds a day because I gave her a book and I taught her the 5th skill of lichenology, which is why it says learned about lichen. I have maxed her cardio, her wits, her fighting, and her shooting. And these are the 4 specializations I chose for her. You can see they all have different benefits to her. Because I gave her backpacking, she has additional max stamina. She has a bigger max carrying capacity, which means she can not only run further because she has more stamina, but she can also carry 30 extra pounds, which is basically how that comes out. And she has an extra slot in her backpack because I gave her the backpacking skill. Because I gave her the resourcefulness wit skill, she searches 35% faster. She gets an extra inventory slot again. She can carry +3 items in every single stackable size. Basically, if the item stacks in a stack larger than 1, she can carry +3 to that stack. So if the item can carry more than 1, she can carry an additional 3. Each item has its own stack size, so I can't really tell you what that means. It just means she can carry 3 extra items as compared to a character who can't carry 3 extra items. And she has a -70% to consumable weights. That means things that are considered consumables that I know of are like stamina and health items. So those items on her weigh 70% less. She also has an increase to her crossbow recovery rate, meaning that if she is using a crossbow, she has a 75% bigger chance to recover her bolts when she's shooting, as compared to a standard character. I gave her the swordplay specialization that gives her extra max health. 30% blade lethality, so whatever her weapon says, her weapon is actually 30% more lethal in her hands than in someone else's. She's gained an executability with a blade, and she got a couple of different fighting moves because I gave her the swordplay. I gave her gunslinging for her shooting. She has a 200% reload speed, which means she reloads 200% faster than someone without the gunslinging skill. She has an aim snap skill, which basically, it's free headshots, if anyone's wondering what that means. It lines you up for a headshot if you use the skill, but it does use your stamina to do that. She's got 25% less firearm sway and recoil, and again, she gets the ability to basically make sure she's getting a headshot every time. Gunslinging is my favorite of the shooting skills, and we've already covered what her 5th skill does. Beeper, you can see he's built a little differently. Instead of backpacking, he has marathon, which gave him plus 21 points to his max stamina. It gave him 33% sprint stamina costs, so basically, when he does have to pay for sprinting, it's cheaper for him. 40% less fatigue severity, so he gets tired less quickly. And if he is not carrying a lot of stuff, he actually doesn't have a stamina cost when he's trying to run. Instead of resourcefulness, he got scouting, which means he has a 35% search speed. He can detect enemies around him for up to 45 meters away from his person. He can see containers 70% further than a character at quote standard, which is basically a character that doesn't have scouting all the way maxed up, which makes it really good for him to basically go through a building and look what's in it. And he has better gun durability every time he fires, so his gun lasts a little bit longer than somebody who doesn't have scouting all the way up. And containers can be revealed to him in unsecured buildings. We'll go over that a little bit later. Instead of swordplay, his only change from her is his 5th skill and his combat. She has swordplay, he has close combat. You're going to see the skills repeat over and over and over as they're the prime skills that I use. Close combat gives your character at full stats, gives plus 28 to their max health, gives them 2 interesting new attacks, a shove attack and an execute standing enemies, and then it makes your melee weapons 50% less stamina. So when you are in a close combat fight, you spend less stamina than somebody who wasn't trained to be in that fight. Gunslinging is the exact same skill we've already covered. And then auto mechanics, he has one of the 7-star specialties. That is the mechanics skill specialized into auto mechanics. He has a 25% fuel efficiency bonus for the community, a 50% vehicle stealth for the community, knowledge of mechanics, and knowledge of specifically auto mechanics. What the fuel efficiency means, all of the cars in my community, who it doesn't matter who's driving them, they're going to have better fuel efficiency because he's in the community, and they're also going to run quieter because basically what it's saying is he's using his knowledge of auto mechanics to maintain the vehicles, therefore they're just running a little bit better than somebody that doesn't have that. You can see that being a former model affected his skills, learning mechanics, which again it says learn, so that means I taught him mechanics. Those are 2 things that affect his skills. Animal lover is cute, but it doesn't do anything for him. But his taking power naps, again, that's how we have 2 beds available when we already have 3 characters. I'm sorry, guys, I did not mean to cough in your ear. I will try not to cough in your ear again. Like I said, I've been having these allergies and a little bit of a cold lately. If I didn't say it, I meant to. That's hence why I keep referencing that I have taken the NyQuil and I'm a little funky-dunky, but I'm here anyway. Lastly, our last member of our team, again, Mr. Farhat, 168 health, 131 stamina. We all know that. You can see that he was physically trained. That means I gave him a book to respec one of his skills. You can respec cardio, wits, fighting, and shooting if you don't like the skills. In my case, I had to respec his fighting for some reason. That's why he has a physically trained. When you use a book to reset your skill, you get a penalty of 66% slower learning for that skill. So when I reset his cardio, not his fighting, his cardio, to powerhouse from whatever it was, it basically took me a lot longer to train him again because I was retraining him to do a different thing. Outside of that, he has an extremely rare trait, which is called the Blood Plague Survivor. Basically, if a zombie infected with the Blood Plague, which you get from the Plague Hearts, tries to bite him, scratch him, or hurt him, he will not get infected with Blood Plague no matter what it does to him. It's impossible. He is immune to the Blood Plague. It's an extremely rare trait, and I actually have 2 of these traits in my community. Just lucky rolling. He actually has 2 different skills from everyone else. For his cardio skill, I chose Powerhouse. He gets a plus 21 max stamina to his stamina. He hits He is able to grapple zombies or grab zombies and hold them in place for 50% less stamina. He is able to fight for 25% less stamina, and he has a whole bunch of moves that he can use to wrangle zombies. And also, the second thing that I have, he has a specialization that neither of the other ones have, and that is stealth. He's 35. He searches 35% faster. He has a range of sight, so he can see enemies 35%. I believe that's 35% less well. He basically he can't see as far as everyone else because he's trying to be quiet and move slowly, and so he's got a decreased range of sight, which a lot of people say is a negative thing, but I think it just means because he's trying to be stealthy, he's not looking around as much as somebody who's not trying to be stealthy. It says 50% chance of search crash, but it's actually in game 100%. I don't know why it says 50%. I don't know how they coded it. It says 50%, but it never happens. And then he's got a few moves that he can do because of the stealth interaction. My favorite two are he can open locked doors, and he can sprint while he's crouching. So those are my 3 people in my community, and that's what we're doing. So I run my community a little bit different than the game standard. Up to this point, I've told you standard game interactions. Everything's been by the book. Everything's been black and white. Here's the text. Here's what it means. Here's what we're doing. At this point forward, for a couple of minutes, I'm going to tell you some information that has nothing to do with gameplay. So if you want a snack, you want a drink, you need to use the restroom, or honestly, you're just like, I don't care, you could tune out for the next couple of minutes because this is something that I personally do to make the gameplay a little bit deeper. It has nothing to do with gameplay mechanics, and it simply is some lore that I put into the game just to make my experience unique and difficult. So I'll let you know when this section ends and we're picking up with more detailed gameplay. Alright, with that said, I kind of divide. You can see Beeper's actually gotten tired on me. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch off him. He will go to a bonk and go lay down now because he's considered tired, but I'm going to grab Han instead. Because all I've been doing is standing here all day with Mr. Beeper, and he got incredibly tired. He took some damage, so I'm thinking that is where his exhaustion's going for it. You can see he's kind of glitching, but he is on his way to that cot over there. That's right in front of him. He is going to want to go to bed there because he's tired. Anyway, so this is where my lore kicks in. Again, give me just a couple minutes. I'll explain it fast, and then I'll cue you guys in when it's time to come back, throw in those listening ears, and be engaged. For each one of the survivors in my community, everyone gets assigned as a base game mechanic a leadership style. In my communities, a special thing that I like to do to deepen the lore of my communities is I've assigned some what would I call them? I guess some chores or some roles in my community to each one of my characters based on their leadership style. We've got 3 of them here that I can talk about briefly. When we get the 4th one in, I can give you some notes on how I do that. But right now we've only got a traitor, a sheriff, and a warlord. In my community, the heart of my community is always my traitor leader. Hannah has been my traitor leader for more than 2 years now. She comes in, she takes power, she builds the community on a base of money, and she's just the boss. And in my community, traitors have all of the power and all of the respect, and they're extremely protected in my community lore because, to me, they're special. They bring in the pipeline of money that allows me to do everything else in the game. For me, the traitor basically is a means to an end, and in my pyramid of hierarchy, they're at the top because to me they're kind of like white collar. They're the bosses, they run the show, and that's why I only have one traitor in my entire collection. I think I actually have a backup traitor now, but that's neither here nor there. So Hannah is my one and only traitor. That's because I always make her my leader. That's just how I like to play things, because for me, she heads up a pyramid. The next level down on that pyramid would be the people who go out and tango with all of the communities, and that's my sheriff class. They run missions, they establish trading lines, they directly support their leader by supporting the trade and getting trading connections. They also do a lot of scouting, and they handle just day-to-day tasks that need to be done. Um, and that's their role in my community. The one that's not pictured here is called the builder class, but they're the next roll down in my pyramid structure, and they support the sheriff and trader classes by bringing in goods. The goods they're bringing in are not goods that are purchased, but instead looted from the outside world, and they build up a strong base so that the trader and the sheriffs have somewhere to eat and sleep and take care of their business, or a point to spring from. And the builders, basically, they make a really strong backbone of the community. They do that with the last row of my pyramid, which would be the warlord class. The warlord class is what Mr. Farhat is a part of. And the warlord class supports the rest of the pyramid on its back by using violence to protect the builders who are building the base. So they protect the base, they protect the builders, they protect the sheriffs, they protect everyone. They act as the bodyguards or the military to basically secure all of this. They secure the life that the builders have created for everyone else. It's a self-sustaining ecosystem that I have built through my own lore. Again, this has nothing to do with gameplay mechanics. It has nothing to do with how you're going to play the game. I'm including in this tutorial because there are going to be sections of this tutorial where I go off and I say this is how I do things, just in case you want a deeper lore, you want replayability. This is one method I've found to keep that alive. If you don't want that, you can skip this section, move on. I have other things to say to you. But if you want that, this is one way I've found to deepen the lore, deepen my connection to my characters, and keep me coming back for years and years and years and years. It's just one of those things that I have found a way to do, and one of those ways that I do that is because, if you didn't notice, everybody here is dressed a little bit differently. Beeper is a sheriff, so he's dressed like a cowboy. Hannah is a trader, so I've kind of tried to put her in like a Wall Street look. And then Farhat, he is a warlord, so he's kind of dressed in combat boots and a hoodie, and he looks like a ninja, like he's gonna go tear stuff up, because I try to differentiate each one of my character types by a certain setup. That's just the gist of how I do things and how I run lore. Hopefully you've grabbed your snacks, your drinks, your beverages, you've taken a break, whatever it is you need to, because now we're going to go ahead and step back into actual gameplay topics. So if you came into this tutorial looking for gameplay, we're back to it. The first thing you have to do after establishing your base, so once you've got your base locked down, is you're going to want somebody to go out in the field, out and about, and take care of business. My guy has his own weapons and everything, but if you don't, that's okay, because I'm not going to completely rely on my stuff. What I am going to rely on is my knowledge.
Back in a bit.
So for me, my first step is to head off into the wild, using the map to, if available, spot bad things. In this case, there's a screamer near my base. I don't want that. So before I go out and start looting, I'm going to go over here and take care of this screamer and just kind of tighten up security. I'm going to take care of business a little bit. Hopefully the screamer doesn't see me. Yeah, he sees me. That's what a screamer sounds like. I let him scream once just for learning purposes. I love how I said I'm not going to use my skills, and there I did twice. I will try to stop using my skills. In fact, well, it's going to be almost impossible, but I'll try. I'm going to show you the way I would deal with this situation if I did not have a gun or a weapon. So I'm going to take those off. So now he's just got his knife. He's still got a little bit of skill check, but we're alright. I can't deal with that bloater right now. He's laying down. I don't want to step on him, so what I would do is I'd go wide. You would do a different animation than I'm going to do, but It's the same process. Come up behind him and murk him out. That bloater is laying on the ground. That's what they look like. They look green. If you pick up a gun, you can obviously put your crosshairs on it, give it a bloop, and take care of it. If you don't want to do that and they're laying down, as long as you know they're there, they're not very harmful to you. If you don't know that they're there, or you're gonna forget that they're there, or they're in a high traffic location, as we loot, I'm gonna show you a way to get rid of them. But I have to get a specific item to do that. So what you're gonna want to do if you want to get rid of a bloater that's laying down
With this.
is you're gonna need something to throw at it. So we're gonna go look. I have my own method for looting, so help yourself. Any white boxes are lootable containers. I'll show you what it looks like again. So this closed box here indicates a lootable container. You can walk up on Xbox. It's holding down the Y button to go ahead and search. You can fast search by holding LB. I'm not interested in generating a ton of noise right now, so this character actually does have stealth, so it's not really an issue for me, but I'm trying to show you how I would do it if I had a base character.
Going about as well as could be expected here.
The next thing I kind of do, I don't open anything. It's just my personal preference not to open this stuff, but I do go past it. I can turn on my flashlight because it's nighttime, and I do kind of do a peripheral walk around. I'll do things like I'll check to see if doors are locked. In my case, I have a skill that lets me open this door. If you don't have a skill, you might want to look for a door that's already unlocked. I like to open doors so that when my raiding team comes in here, they can basically just walk into the building. Sometimes it closes the doors on me on a technical glitch, but a lot of the times it will remember the door position, and I like to leave the doors open for the next team. Again, this is a locked door. I'll show you the process. If you have to make noise and you don't have the stealth skill, you can always smash the doors open like that. It makes that amount of sound. That amount of sound will generate zombies in the area. I prefer to use somebody with stealth to go ahead and unlock the doors, quote unquote pick lock the doors, so I don't have to make that noise. Luckily, it doesn't look like that particular incident generated any zombies, but it can. It has a chance to generate zombies. It has a chance to call zombies in the area. I know where I'm going, so I'm just performing my loop. That guy scared the tar out of me. This particular building, it seems, is home to some people. So, hello, Matt. How are you today? So I won't bother to open their door, because opening their door just means they're going to shut it again, because NPCs can open and shut doors at will. But great, if they're over there, they shouldn't be in here. This is one of my prime looting spots. If you ever find a double door that is locked, try opening the other door. So like, if that first door had been locked, you can try opening the second door. Just a quick tip. And you can always open doors from the inside. So if you get into a building through an unlocked door, and you know a door is locked, you can open it from the inside, and then it should not be locked for you anymore. This is about as far as I go in the first loop of Providence Ridge. I just go through and I open my doors. I'm checking around, checking like cars and other areas. That red thing over there is a plague-infested zombie. That's a zombie with blood plague. I know I mentioned them briefly before we got into game, but I don't think I brought them back up. He can't hear me right now because I'm crouched and because I have stealth. He might have heard you guys if you were walking up to him and you didn't have stealth, even if you were crouched, because some of these zombies have incredible hearing. I mean, they're zombies. They're kind of, that's one of their things that they like to do, is try to eat your brains, so they have skills to compensate that. But for the most part, you can stealth up to most of these zombies. Freaks are a whole nother ball game, but zombies pretty easy. What I basically do after I make my rounds is I go ahead and I start heading back the other way. Now this is for this particular map. Each map I have kind of my own rotation for. This is just what I do on the first one. I come down over there, I search that truck, I search this car, I go ahead and open all the doors to all these areas, including that one back there, and then I kind of just head back home. So the blue bar that is around my mini map is draining. That is my stamina. The blue bar indicates stamina. The red bar indicates health. They'll be at different lengths depending on how your characters are leveled. So I'm going to go ahead and search this vehicle. This vehicle is almost always searchable. Again, I'm on green. I'm on the baby level. So I'm showing you the facts for green. If things are not the way they are, it's because you've selected a different difficulty. When your car spawns in, we'll have some stuff in the trunk. You can collect it. I know we need both food and medicine, so I'm going to leave both of those in here. I'll show you why we're doing that a little bit later. At this point, I go ahead and loop back up to the base we claimed because I've now completed my first circuit. This is just my process. You don't have to do things my way. This is just one method of doing things. If you don't like my method, you want to do it a different way, you're welcome to pick and choose what you learn from me and what you put into practice. This is just the way I do things, and I'm just showing you so that if you have absolutely no clue where to start or how to do things, well, I'm giving you a starting space. For me, again, I have lore, so for searching purposes, I usually grab my cowboy, and then I head out with him. Beeper is my searching man, so I grab him because he's specifically labeled for this purpose. I have not found the thing I wanted to pop the bloater with, so that's why I'm continuing to go out. These two doors back here I did not open, but I'm going to go ahead and start by searching them. I should have had Farhat go out here and open these, but I started at the gas station, and that is okay. This game is really, and there's no hard and fast rules. The only thing you have to do is survive. Everything else is optional. It depends on your gameplay status. Let's hope these doors are unlocked. Nice. Again, once you get inside, it doesn't really matter, and I can pretty much just open them. I just like to have quick exits in the event of nasty, nasty stuff. Now, unlike Farhat, Mr. Beeper does not have the skill of stealth, so if I were to fast search with him, there is a chance that things are going to hear me, so I'm just going to regular search. I'm going to go ahead and leave that where it is. That's a rucksack. It goes in a different, it doesn't go in my backpack, it goes on my back, and I can only carry one at a time, so I'm not going to take it right now. I'm just going to remember that it's there. This particular facility is saying that it's got medicine, which it does because it's got a rucksack here. And it's saying I've now searched 2 of the 6 containers. It's just something to keep you on track and keep you making sure that you don't miss anything when you're coming through. Nice, we've got a bang bang, some bullets, Molotov. We're going to take all of that. That's all good stuff. Go ahead and keep searching, Beeper. And you notice I haven't touched the mission in the top right, and I haven't even mentioned the mission in the top right. That's because I know it's there, I'm aware it's available, but I'm not interested at this time. To me, the most important thing to get going is to get my base kind of set up and squared away before I quote-unquote start the game. If I take these 2 things, I'll be full. I'll take the medicine, but I'll come back for the emery boards, depending on what's in this box. You only have so many slots in your backpack. There are different sizes of backpack. The smallest backpack in the game is a 6 slot. The largest backpack in the game currently is an 8 slot. There are 2 styles of 8 slot backpack. One weighs 12 pounds. One weighs, I think, 8 pounds. There's a number of styles for the 7 slot backpack. And there's 2 styles for the 6 slot backpack. The 6 slot backpack comes in the current one that Mr. Beeper has, which is called an ultralight, and then there's a standard. The standard, I think, is 6 pounds, whereas the ultralight is 0.1 pound. I'll try to remind myself to tell you guys about the 7s as we go over them in game. The 7s are usually specialties that you have to like purchase and stuff, so they're not really standard. I think I'm going to go ahead and dump the parts out here so I can just have a part pile to pick up later. You'll see what I mean. So because I know there was 1 ruck in this facility, I'll take the ruck. You can only hold 1 of these at a time. And I've only got a 6 slot backpack, so I'm grabbing everything using my backpack and a little bit of what I like to call dumping. Dumping is where I put something on the ground to pick it up later. Parts are pretty common, so I'm going to go home with him right now. And I got a gas can. The gas can means we can make our car move. So I'll show you what my next moves are. Ignore that zombie. I didn't see him. I didn't know he was there. I really don't care. Beeper's gonna have his own opinion about that. That's fine. That's why I love him. He's got a personality. But my dude, right now, we're doing something. That something requires us to get home as quickly as possible. When you get home with a rucksack on your back, you're going to want to go to the area located by this like rucksack drop-off arrow. You'll see the word deposit on your screen. You're going to want to go ahead and do that. It will add that amount of medicine, food, whatever the resource is, to your stock, and then it's considered deposited. You got it now. I can't take it away from you. You can go to this locker, the storage locker, the supply locker, I'm sorry, to dump off stuff. And you can do things like store your weaponry and stuff like that. He didn't have a fully loaded gun, so I switched out the bullets for that. So now that my guy is carrying plenty of bullets. Now I am going to have Beeper grab one thing because I put everything away. I actually need the can of gas. I need this, and I need this. We're going to go down and show you how to pick up your car. The car they start you with is damaged and needs gas. So if you're in the market for moving that car quickly, what you want to do is get yourself a gas can and a repair kit. Those two things will make your car not only functional, but full health. If things attack you in the meantime, well, you got to deal with them. The way you deal with them depends on your skill level. In my case, I'm all skilled up. You're not, so it might take you a couple extra hits to get that done, but I'm using the resources I've got. You want to approach the car at the gas area, which is just like a car in real life. It's... if I can get him to shine his light on it. Okay. You can kind of see it. It's that little circular area. That's where you want to approach. If you have a can of gas in your inventory, you'll get the interaction I did the first time, which lets you put the can of gas into the car. If you don't have a can of gas, it won't let you do it. If you want to repair the vehicle, approach the front of the vehicle. If you have a repair kit on you, it will give you the option to repair the vehicle. I want to go ahead and apply this. He's my mechanic, so this makes sense. He went ahead, and now you'll see it says toolkit needed. That means the car is still damaged, but I do not have another toolkit. So now that we've got some fuel in the car, which you can see by looking at the rump of the car, I believe, it shows you a little yellow line at the top left. That's how much gas. We've got half a tank of gas in the car now. So I'm going to go ahead and have Beeper get in, and we're going to go back to where we were a minute ago to go pick up those parts and continue looting. I just wanted to grab my car. So I was looking for stuff to grab my car, so we're going to get back over to where I highlighted the first time. And we're going to go ahead and go right back to the stuff I dropped. Stuff does eventually go away. When you put it on the ground, you can use that strategy to get rid of stuff. But if you're quick about it, you can use it as kind of a way to clear buildings in a speedy manner. Now I found another repair kit, so if I want to, I can come back to the car and I can go up. As you see, now that I have a repair kit, it's letting me know this is actually a fully repaired vehicle now. This vehicle does not need repairs. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put that in the trunk because I don't want to carry that around. I'll put the parts in, take them back out so they can be in my pocket and I don't have to deal with them. It's just how I get organized. I'm going to go ahead and open both these front doors. Again, if I get attacked, the doors being open is actually a good thing for me because it gives me multiple ways to get the heck out of the building. This building says it's going to have food in it. We want to go ahead and find that food if we can. So what we're going to go ahead and do, grab that painkiller, put that rucksack on our back. I'm going to go ahead and grab the next container. What I also like to do, if I have a vehicle on hand, what you can do is you can put these rucks in the trunk. You can see I've got an extra slot in the trunk. I can put the ruck in there. Now, if another ruck happens to generate in this building, I don't have to leave it behind. I can take it. If you fast search and you mess up, it makes that noise. That noise can generate zombies. You can see a zombie's appeared on our mini radar. This is a zombie. There's a couple of zombies coming in because we made noise. Noise generates zombies. That's just how it is. So now they're coming to eat my face. I'm sorry for the loud, startling noise, but I wanted everybody to be aware. There's consequences in this game for fast searching at times. That's why if you don't have stealth, it's better to just sit there and take the slow search. Because another thing that happens when you fast search and you fail, it restarts you where you were. So if you don't want the penalty of fast searching and starting over, well, don't fast search.
If I take out
Unless
the
you
new
have
state guard, this should clear up.
proper skills. Alright, sorry about that lag. We're gonna go ahead and go back. Alright, still haven't found the thing I want to deal with the bloater with. That's okay. I've got a full trunk, so I'm gonna go ahead and just go back to the house. Try not to hit the fences. I'm not 100% sure if it does or does not damage your vehicle, but I tend to think I believe it does. I don't know if it's ever been proven. There are plenty of testing videos out there, so you could check those out. I suppose we could just go to the front of our car with the repair. Still says no repairs, so maybe it doesn't. Maybe if you do it a lot, it does, and if you do it a little, it doesn't. Maybe that's the breakaway. You can drop things directly in your facility without having to go to the rucksack drop spot I showed you the first time. If you have a vehicle trunk, you basically just put the rucksacks you want to put into your storage in here, and then you can just directly offload them by clicking the corresponding button. And now I deposited all those rucksacks at once. Vehicles are amazing things, folks. It speeds up the process a whole bunch. You could put rucksacks in. You can use it to put individual items in. You can get things out of your inventory and put it in. You just can't take it out. So it's like a one-way drop-off system. You can see we're now at 18 food, 15 medicine. So I don't really need any more of those resources. So I'm kind of going to look down here and be like, I've got fuel. That's a resource I didn't grab before. And then I've got materials and bullets. Those are resources I didn't grab before, so I'm going to want to hit those specific buildings next because there is a cap at your base. At your initial base, without upgrading your storage, you're capped at 25 units per resource type. There are 5 main resources. The 5 main resources are food. That is what your people eat to survive. Meds. That is what your people use to heal themselves. Ammo. That's the resource that loads your guns. Materials. That's the resource you use to build with. And fuel. That's the resource you use to generate power. There is, of course, the resource of money. And there's another resource called parts. Parts are those little nuts and bolts I keep finding everywhere and putting in my pockets. They're just used for like general construction and building stuff, and they're just another type of resource that you have to keep on hand, but they don't have a rucksack that goes with them. They're just kind of an oddity that they don't have a rucksack, but you need them anyway. So you just collect them, put them in your pocket, bring them home. The other 5 resources have a corresponding rucksack that you need to grab to basically be able to take care of business. So you can see there's only 3 containers here. I've looted 1. This other pump counts as 2. So we're going to go ahead and get this bad boy looted. There's a rucksack for fuel, which was flashing at us because it indicates desperate need. Because we've already opened the door, we can just wander in, find our 3rd container marked by the box, and finish searching it. Fun fact, after you've searched it, if you leave something in it, it becomes an open box. If you take everything, it goes away. I can kind of clean out my pockets a little by doing a couple things here. The first thing I can do, I can use the gas can we found to get full fuel in my car. You can't go over full fuel. Sorry, that's a tongue twister apparently for me. And then I'm going to put that rucksack we found in here. This size of car can hold 4, but there are cars that can hold up to 8 rucksacks. Cars are just a wonderful part of the game that make everything function a little bit better. The next thing I'm going to want to shaboogie on down to is this resource over here. So we're looking for materials. This is the skill called gunslinging. You see the little icon that appeared? That allows me to make basically an auto headshot. I didn't do it, but you can use it if you get the gunslinging full. You just get, see, little headshot, it'll auto headshot for you. I don't want to waste my bullets, but that's what it does. That's what it looks like. That's why I like it. You got a ton of zombies on it. It is an extremely helpful skill. We've got 4 things to search in here, so we better just get to it. I know somebody lives here, but we're going to take their stuff without their permission, because we're the main character, and that's what we do. Found some more fuel, which bodes really well for us if we want to get another vehicle, or if we want to keep our current vehicle rocking and locking around the map, that we're going to need that. This is called a pile of weapon remains. You can break those down at your base to give you the parts that you so much desire. The 6th and final resource, if you will. You need it for repairing weapons. You need it for building things. It's extremely important. That lady just scared me. Ma'am, I know you live here, but you just startled the daylights out of me. I'm sorry, I'm just looking to take your materials, ma'am. That material was part of a quest, so that's why it had an exclamation point on it. I took it because I need it. Not because I really want to complete this quest, but because I want the loot. You'll notice I parked at one location, I'm running to the other locations. The reason for that, cars make noise. I like to reduce my noise footprint as much as possible. That's why I'm also not firing my weapon. Weapons in cars are loud. Running and melee fighting is quieter. I just dodged through that attack. We'll go over combat another day. Right now I'm just trying to get you used to the basics of what's going on, what you need to do to maintain your base. If you need a combat breakdown, we're going to have shooting and melee combat, how I get that done a little bit later. We're probably not going to be able to take everything in one haul because I've only got 3 slots left in my backpack, so I'm going to try to figure out, use my big brain and see if I can't find the bag without finding the bag. So what are my options? I've got a box back here that looks like it's a safe. It's usually, in my experience, it's not in here, so I'm not going to search that one right now. It could be in there, it could not be, but usually I've got pretty good luck with it being on 4, so I'm going to try these shelves, and I'm going to see if it's in this first container. Come on, give me the bag. Bullets. Not what I was looking for. We'll try these 2 shelves. If it's not in here, we're going to have to leave some stuff behind. Okay, so it's not in there. How about in here? It was in this one. Alright, so we'll take the rucksack off of it. We'll take, we can take the parts, because those will stack. 357. I'm not seeing any bullets that stack either. So I'm going to go ahead and pop open one more crate just to see if we've got anything we can stack up. And I'm going to go with this little toolbox. Dang, I made some noise. That one didn't even have anything in it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab these bullets, because these bullets go in this gun. Of course, that gun's fully loaded. I have to deal with some zombies now, because of course I made some noise, but that's okay. As you can see, my character, 0 problem handling the business. Again, this is a very low level. It's starting out. This is an easy apocalypse right now. This is truly easy. So now I'm going to go ahead and make my way back to my vehicle. You guys are welcome to bring your vehicle with you. There's nothing, I don't have anything against bringing a vehicle. I just personally don't do that. I drive my vehicle to one main location, and then I just make my way to where I want to go from there. Alright, so my next thing is going to be getting back to my car. Getting this ruck put into the trunk.
This place ain't never
Get my keys in the car, getting the lights on, heading back to base. As I picked up all 3 rucksacks we talked about. Also, you can open your car door like I just did and melee the zombies. Over time, I believe it does damage your car some, but it damages your car less than using your engine block to hit them. So that's fun. You see Farhat's running around my base trying to secure it. I really need gas, really need bullets, that's what that meant. I also need that.
I say we build a workshop.
Gotta clear him down so he's not carrying anything extra. And now you can see we've got 9 bullets, we've got 10 materials, we've got 6 gas. Nothing's flashing at me, nothing's red, nothing's like, hey Kittycraft, this needs attention. Now we've got some of each resource. My people are going to be a little bit happier than they would be without it. Without it, they start panicking, their morale goes down, they can get into a really bad situation. You do not want negative morale. Negative morale, people will leave you. They'll abandon your base. They'll walk away from you if they're negative morale. If they're unhappy, it's just like how it is in real life. If you're unhappy with a situation, you tend to leave that situation. Alright. That is a day card. We have made it through day 1 successfully together. We are starting the morning of day 2. Because of the sleep system, I'm going to go ahead and allow Mr. Beeper to go rest for a while. And I'm going to grab out Miss Hannah and do this next part. She handles all my financial transactions. That's not something the game is making me do. It's something I'm choosing to do. So it's one of those things you can disregard if you would like to. You can grab whoever you want, basically. I'm going to go ahead and grab this item out. It's tagged as a luxury items. Items tagged luxury item are only for trading. They're only for selling. So I'm going to grab that because I want to make some sales to our neighbors. I unload my guns in storage just so I have an accurate ammo count. That's just a personal decision I make. I don't really want weak medicine, so I'm going to sell that to my neighbors. I never really have a problem with my yields, but I'll leave that mod alone for right now. So that's everything out of my storage I can sell. So I'm going to come over here. Because I pulled the trader card, I actually have my neighbor standing at my house right now. So I'm going to go ahead and talk to him. You can say, this is my neighbor. He's from the Boone Trader Collection. That's the name of his group. He says his name's Henrik. He says, we wanted to show our appreciation for everything you did for us. Take a look and see if there's anything you need. You can have this character stand at your base too if you have the Trader Boone card at the beginning of your run. If you don't, he won't be here, but there will be friendly enclaves on the map that you can trade with. You just have to go to them. They don't come to you. It's kind of a one-time thing at the beginning of the game, though. It's just, again, it's using a Boone card. Boone cards are good. Where is the zombie that I can't talk to you, Henrik?
I've got stuff you'll like.
Okay, you're just being a pain. On the left-hand screen is everything he has in his possession. So he's bought 3 guns, a melee weapon, some health pills, some stamina pills, some seed packets, chemicals, and some other stuff. And he's brought 4 rucksacks that he's willing to sell for me. And each item, you'll notice there's a couple things on it. So, like, if I buy a gun, for instance, he's going to charge me, for the first gun, he's going to charge me 260 influence. For 260 influence, I get the weapon and 50 rounds. For the next gun, he's going to charge me 350 influence. I get the weapon and 30 rounds. For the last one, he'll charge me 350 influence. I get the weapon and 30 rounds. That's basically a clip. So it's telling you your clip size. The first weapon has 50 rounds. I can go to that weapon and I can see more information about it. It's called a Raider AR-15. There's all the stats. There's the weight. If I want to salvage it, that's how many parts I get for breaking the weapon down. At the bottom it tells you to reload this weapon you're going to need to have 5.56 millimeter rounds in your possession, and this weapon has a capacity or a clip size of 50. That means it can hold 50 rounds in the gun. I know it's not the most tactical way to talk about a weapon, but that's what we're doing. This first page shows all the items. You can filter if you just want to look at guns, you just want to look at melee weapons, you want to look at consumables, crafting, and miscellaneous. I prefer to look at his main page, where I see everything he has all at once. You can see some of these other things do have a quantity. If I buy this item from him, this bottles of strong painkillers, I'm going to give him 300 influence. He's going to give me 3 bottles of strong painkillers. If I buy this item, the cases of chemicals, he's going to give me 24 chemicals in exchange for 600 influence. If I buy these boxes of seeds, he'll give me 23 packets of seeds for $575. If I buy this portable generator, he's going to give me one portable generator for $250. In my case, I'm selling him stuff. I have one pack of emery boards. He'll give me 34 bucks. I accept. If you didn't notice, there's a number at the top. He's got a little star count. That star count is how much money he has. That goes up and down as I buy and sell things. If you didn't see it before, I'm sorry I forgot to mention it. Like you can see, he currently has $631. When I sell him these 2-week painkillers that I have, he's going to give me 8 buckaroos. He's going to go up. Watch the 631. Boom. He now has 623 because he bought that for $8. He bought it off of me. He said, I'll take those. And now he's relisted them in his shop, and he doesn't want $8. He wants $20 for me to buy them back. So be careful when you're buying and selling stuff. At the top right, your inventory tells you how much money I have on my account because I took the trader boon. I have $4,352 in my possession. I believe 200 is standard. You get the 4,000 from existing. You get influence from different things throughout the game. Whenever you see a plus influence, that's when you're earning money. In my case, I really don't want any of this junk that he has in his possession, I don't think. Yeah, I'll get my stuff through raiding. Thank you, though, Henrique. I appreciate you bringing me stuff to buy, but nothing that you have is something that I can't live without. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up making sales to Mr. Henrique. So I no longer, in my opinion, need Hannah. Again, that is not a gameplay thing. That's my choice. I've just made my own lore for funsies. I do finally have one of the items that I can use to get rid of a bloater. There's a couple. They're basically just throwables. So it's either you're looking for like a throwable bomb or a throwable Molotov. It just depends what you feel comfortable using. I was hoping to get a throwable explosive, but I didn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab Farhat and I'm going to go back out. I'm going to secure the area again. I like to do it in between each one of my runs. I'm going to have him grab one of the Molotovs we picked up during looting, and I'm going to show you guys how I get rid of bloaters who are sitting on the ground. I tagged my objective first and foremost so I know where he is so I won't step on him. Because if I just eyeballed it, one, I would have gone the wrong direction because I'm horrible with directions. And two, I would have stepped on him because I don't know exactly where he is. So, because I have him tagged and I can safely come through this way, he's over there. He even has an arrow on top of him. So what we're going to do is we're going to get about this far away. Okay, you can see him. You know he's there. If you don't have a gun, it will still give you like a big circle, I think, which is basically your... It's just... Here, I can show you what it looks like. If I just pop my gun out of its slot real fast, if I unequip it, there you go. This is what it looks like if you don't have a gun. It's just a giant circle. It doesn't matter whether you have a gun retinal or whether you have this circle. You just want to put it on him. You just want to make sure your retinal is facing him. And then you want to use whatever your use key is. On Xbox, it's RB, so boom. Done. He's now dealt with. You see I get some money for that. And then I can put my gun back on because teaching moment's over. And now he's no longer there. It's now safe. I don't have to worry about stepping on him anymore. Admittedly, I used a very valuable resource known as a Molotov, but I'll get another one. Or I can make another one. And now I don't have to deal with that bloater, and I didn't have to use a bullet. So if you don't want to use a bullet, you don't have to. If they're standing up, there are other methods, but if they're laying down, that's about what you can do with them. You can blow them up. If there was another zombie in the area, you could use that zombie to trigger him. It's a little trickier. I'll try to show you that if a situation arises where that's applicable. But yeah, those are kind of your three methods of disposing of a laying down one. I'll show you guys the Snap 2 headshot in motion, just so you can see it's worth it for you or not without having to get it. What you're going to want to do, approach the target. You just generally aim your weapon. You can aim it almost anywhere as long as it's close-ish. And then you'll use your skill button, which is A. So if you have it, you can literally be aiming over here, and boom, headshot. All you got to do is fire your weapon, boom, you're done. That's why gunslinging is so important. Some people say, you know, it's one of the worst shooting skills. I personally think it's one of the best. It really makes the game easier to maneuver. in my opinion. Once I secure the area, I kind of head back to base because, again, I have rules for my characters. You don't have to have rules for your characters. If you don't want the lore, you don't have to have it. I just do, so that's why I'm swapping characters every 5 seconds. That, and it allows my characters to rest so that my characters, no one gets too tired because I have a constant rotation. That's another thing my lore does for me. That's a benefit, is my people don't get too tired because I'm constantly switching them out and I'm not making one person do everything. The next thing I like to do after I've done some early game raiding and at least make my base quote-unquote stable is get to my closest scouting position and go ahead and get the lay of the land, or at least get the lay of this land and this area so I know kind of what's going on. If I get attacked by zombies, that's okay. Take out any zombies that are bothering me, and then just kind of go up the ladder for the scouting position. All scouting requires you to climb. You just have to be careful on the way down, because if you fall, you could break your ribs and crack your collarbone and all kinds of nasty things in this game. And you don't want your character to have injuries. Alright, so when you get to the top of the scouting, you're going to see a little notification at the top that's going to say aim to enter survey mode. Doesn't matter, again, whether you have a weapon or not, you can still aim. You'll just get that big old circle I just showed you guys if you don't have a weapon. Places that are filled in and colored in are not question marks, or places that you've already been and have already scouted out. You already know that it's there. Places that have a big old white question mark are areas you have not scouted and you do not know are there. To scout a location, simply aim at it, wait for the little white box to go full, and make sure that you know what's there now. So those are a couple of trailers over there. Boom, boom. That's a fuel pump. That's a carport. We got a house. You just kind of want to go in a circle. Go in a circle around you till the orange bar at the top is full. When that bar is full, you've scouted everything you can from this location, and there's no more use to scouting.
Seems like nothing more to see here.
There's a storage site and some lockers. So now what he just said is he's also giving you an audio and visual cue that he's done scouting. He's seen everything there is to see from this location, and it's been grayed out on your map, indicating it's done, it's finished. You've done the scouting, you've done that mission that you wanted to do. For me, I'm not really interested in a whole lot of this because I'm not looking for stuff in general. In fact, I'm just going to take him back to the gun store that we already scouted, because I want him to finish there. Beeper, you're going to hate me, buddy. I want to show the crafters what happens if you don't use the ladder properly. Beeper, if you would, just kindly go off this edge for me. Beeper falls, Beeper takes damage. If you fell from the top part, from up there on that second story, he would have taken an injury. Beeper's amazing, but he's not that. He's not fall proof, guys. I gave him a small fall because I really didn't want to deal with an injury, but I think you guys got the point without me having to break any of Beeper's bones. Thank you, Beeper, for being willing. Such a good sport and willing to be a demonstration for the people. They greatly appreciate your sacrifice of your little bit of health that you'll get up. I'm not going to heal Beeper to make a point. You do not have to heal your characters if you don't want to. It just makes your life a little bit more difficult. If I had a healing item on me, I could take care of the little bit of damage that Beeper has sustained from his fall. But I'm not going to heal it because there is another mechanic in game that I want to show off, and that is the healing mechanic. Because I have an infirmary at my base, I don't need to use a healing item. If I didn't have an infirmary, I would need to use the healing item. Okay, you got a free hit and it's actually okay. You notice there's a little bar above my minimap now, guys. That little bar indicates that this nasty plague zombie slapped me with his little plague paws. And then when he slapped me with his little plague paws, he gave me the infected status. I'm now 1% infected with the nasty plague virus. If I let him hit me again, go ahead, buddy. He's hit me. You can see there's a white bar now. That white bar status indicates I've taken additional infection. Thank you, Beeper, for demonstrating. I'm sorry you took pain. You can also see during that process I took more damage. I now have more damage sustained in my character because that's another method that you can get hurt by. You can get hurt by Zeds hitting you. So he infected me and he hurt me because that's nice.
All quiet.
But I wanted to show you guys what that looks like.
As quiet as it can get this close to a plague heart.
We're going to go ahead and come back in here. Hopefully I can take some more of this stuff. Unfortunately, his weapons are both modded, but I might be able to cheat the system a little bit. Let me show you a quick cheateroonie. If you're just like a couple away, you can do this. So what I'm going to do is drop the bullets. I'm going to switch this rifle to my use spot, and then I'm going to mod it with this mod, or I'm going to try to mod it with that mod. Can I have the mod back? Click the wrong dang button. So I want to attach this mod to a weapon. I don't have any weapons for that, but I can use this mod. And I want to very carefully not mod either of my guns. I just want to put it on a weapon. There you go. I don't have any eligible weapons right now, but now you'll see that because I put the mod on the weapon, I now have a second weapon that's modded, which is not my weapon. I'll put my weapon back on. But now this weapon's modded, so I can carry the mod and the weapon together, making it to where I have one extra space. I also can reload my gun, which will get rid of one bullet. There you go. It's just a couple of tricks you can use if you really want to get stuff
Nothing
done.
left to find here.
So I cleared out all of that. Did I get everything from this box? No. What's left behind? Okay, there's 2 items left behind. There's not a lot I'm going to do with this stuff. So in this case, I'm just going to leave that box there. I'm not going to come back. I'm not going to get it. What I am going to do is I'm going to cheese a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run back towards the main strip. I'm going to show you guys my method for moving stuff. And my method for moving stuff is to come over closer to where I live and just dump 2 things off. So I'm going to make a nice little pile over there, and then I'm going to head back to the place I was raiding. This works if you live far or if you live close. You just need to put it somewhere you're going to remember where it is. I put it by the sign, so I'll remember that when I go past that sign, I need to pick the 2 things up next time I'm empty. Doesn't matter what character I grab, they can pick it up. I just need to pick up those 2 things because those 2 things need to go home. So I looted everything from here. I will not always loot everything from here. Dang, I miscounted. I dropped 2 items, but 2 items was not enough, apparently. Because he picked one up on the way back. Dang. Okay.
Can't carry that much.
I'm gonna drop a couple things on the floor real fast. And then... Okay. I'm making a mess of this, but this is really supposed to be easy. Now I gotta go back and pick up more things than I had to pick up before, because I accidentally dropped something I wasn't supposed to drop. It can get complicated when you're moving stuff around in your inventory. Please don't disregard the fact I accidentally dropped stuff I didn't intend to. My point is mainly that you can use this drop system to store stuff on the ground temporarily, so that you can do stuff like this, where I just come by, grab that, and then head home. And I'll go get the other items in just a moment. We're going to take Beeper home, we're going to dump him off, we're going to look at his health, and then we're going to leave with another character. And when we pick up Beeper next, we're going to compare his health to what it was to show off how well passive healing works in the game. Now let's go past you and see if there's actually anything I want to get rid of.
How about it?
Okay.
I want to keep my bullets, thank you. But for me, like, I don't like the hunting crossbow, so what I can do is, some people like this hunting crossbow. The reason I don't like the hunting crossbow is it weighs 12.5 pounds. And that's just not a good time for me, so I'm going to make $85 by getting rid of it. And I'm going to sell its ammo to this guy. That clears out 2 spots. I'm going to keep the machete, but this weapon weighs way too much. It's got an improvised suppressor on it, and I'm going to sell it to him. But I'm not going to sell it to him like that. So what I want to do is equip this real fast. I want to take the suppressor off so I can sell both the suppressor and the weapon. Because if you sell the weapon with the suppressor on, you get 1 price. So you can see the rifle is worth 24 influence. The suppressor is worth 17. If you put the rifle put the suppressor back on the rifle becomes worth more money. Hey, Henrik,
I'm hoping
I
to
wasn't
make the
done
trade.
talking to you, buddy.
Interested?
He's
Okay.
gonna offer you $24, or he's gonna offer you $43 for this gun that is suppressed with the suppressor on it. I put it on the wrong gun, but it doesn't really matter. So $43 with it on. I'm gonna take it off. He's only offering 24, so he is paying for the suppressor. It's just not the way that it works. So that's what's happening. So what we're gonna go ahead and
I got some
do,
stuff to trade.
talk to Henrik
How
again.
much?
I'm just gonna
Okay.
sell stuff separately. I don't really want this this suppressor, so I'm gonna go ahead and detach the mod, and then I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna sell both of these rifles to him. Not my rifle. I'm gonna put my rifle back on before I accidentally sell it. I'm gonna sell both these rifles, and this is a base tier suppressor. It's improvised. These will damage your guns while you use them. The most, all suppressors will damage your guns, but the less well crafted or well made the suppressor is, the faster that damage occurs. So I'm gonna be like, I don't want that baby suppressor. I'm looking for something advanced or professional. Gonna keep the rest of this stuff that's in my inventory, and I'm gonna go ahead and go home. By going home, I'm gonna pop to this trunk, use my trunk to turn in my stuff. And then we're going to take a quick look. Beeper's current health, he's at 141 health. He took 27 points of damage. So we're going to just walk up to the front door. I'm going to grab Hannah and have her go get the stuff. I'm going to wake her up, because I don't know if her gun is fully loaded. It is not. Did I get any more ammo for your gun, ma'am? You can see Beeper's just relaxing. He came in and he sat down. He went out and did stuff. He's just kind of done. I love how it auto-reloaded my gun. Okay, thanks, buddy. Thank you. So every once in a while it will do that. You could see my gun wasn't fully loaded. I put the ammo in my inventory and it just glitch loads it. No idea why it does that. Just sometimes it does that. So that's a fun fact, guys. That's just part of the game that's broken right now. I don't know what they updated to get it to do that, but they could leave that glitch alone. That glitch doesn't bother me in the least. If it wants to automatically reload my guns, I'm good with that. So what we're doing now is we're just taking Hannah out for a brief stroll. She's going to pick up the one item left by this sign.
Zombies cluster in these areas.
And then she's going to go pick up the additional items that are at the shop, so I don't miss out on anything. You can see she's got slightly different animations from the guys. She does not have close combat. That would be why her animations for killing zombies from behind differs from the boys. But you can see she's got a melee action if she does it from behind from a distance. Everything you do, every way you level your characters just gives them a slightly different personality, and I think they're all pretty much amazing in their own way. So we're just going to go ahead and grab that stuff we left here. Then we're going back to base. Again, I only switched out so that he could start the healing process, so we could take a look at him. Show off her animations because they're pretty cool. These animations are from the fact that she has full sword skill, or full, what is it called, sword play. She has full sword play, which means that she has different animations from somebody who is skilled in close combat. Both of my guys are skilled in close combat for lore reasons. So, I mean, if you don't want to hear about that, I'll explain it when I get back to base camp, but I'll let you guys know when to tune out and when to tune back in. So if you're not interested, just give me a couple of minutes. I just want to explain the reasons that, you know, everybody has different skills for me. This has nothing to do with gameplay, so that's why I'm just kind of putting it in its own category. Again, if you're not interested in the lore, that's okay. No harm, no foul. Just wanted to let you know that another little lore section is coming up, so if that's not what you're interested in, that's okay. You know, not everything is meant for everybody at all times. So that's why I try to let you guys know when we're talking about gameplay versus talking about what I personally do with my game. So for what I personally do with my game, like I told you guys previously, again, this is a good section to tune out if you're not interested. With my game, I told you my traders have a very specific role in my community. They're my money makers. They handle my money coming in and going out of the community. They're my buyers. They're my sellers. They're my movers. They're my shakers. So the reason she is leveled up the way she's leveled, which is I introduced to you at the beginning, is because she has backpacking and resourcefulness together. Those two things give her 2 extra slots in her backpack so she can carry more than, quote, a standard character. She also has more stamina and more literal carrying capacity so she can carry heavier stuff, more stuff, better stamina to move that stuff because she's buying and she's selling. I want to bring home a full load. I want to take in a full load. It's just how I exchange things. She has swordplay to protect her while she's doing that. The reason she doesn't have close combat is because I want her to deal with 1 or 2 zombies, not groups, not hordes, not masses. I want her to be able to fight off maybe 2 or 3 zombies and then get out of there. She has gunslinging because if her swordplay fails. I wanted her to have another skill to get zombies off of her because she's not meant to be tactical. She's not going in there as a sniper. She's not going there as a heavy gunner. She's going in there as a buyer, as a seller, as a retailer. Her job is to get in, sell the stuff, pick up the items I want, and leave. That is what she does, so that's what she's geared towards. I gave her Lycanology for a similar reason. I wanted her to have a passive that she can do at home that doesn't really prevent her from doing her job as a buyer and a seller. So I gave her a passive of paying for my infirmary so that my infirmary is always paid for because she's always going to be part of the team. It's just kind of a little passive, nice little bonus to Hannah that, I might not have if I hadn't trained her that way. That's the reason she's built the way she is. Next up, we got Mr. Beeper. He's my sheriff class. Like I told you guys already, my sheriffs are the ones that open trade routes and run missions for me. So when I built him, I gave him Marathon because I want this man to run forever. I don't want to have to worry about stamina. I want to basically load him lightly and use the sprint for free when lightly encumbered to run forever. He's a runner, he's a track star. If he needs to run from mission to mission to mission without a car, he can do that. No issues there. I gave him scouting so he can be aware of his area and know where the zombies are so that he can keep track of the things around him. So if he doesn't want to fight, he knows what's happening in his area. He can take care of himself. He can get himself out of there. Also, one of his passives is to scout the area as the sheriff, so he's going to have a better time doing that. It's going to be easier for him to do that. Because he's picking up things, he needs to know what's around him at all times. He has close combat because if a zombie runs up on him, I want him to quietly dispose of them and move on to what he's supposed to be doing, which is getting in there, getting my goods, and going home, or getting in there, opening a trade route, and leaving. And I gave him gunslinging because if everything goes sideways, I want him to have the ability, same as Hannah, to open fire, quickly shut down the situation, and then get himself out of there. Beeper was given mechanics because I wanted him to have a useful skill and again provide a passive to the community while he's doing his job anyway. And additionally, management thought it was fitting that the nickname Beeper would go with somebody that has something to do with cars. Lastly, the last one in my community I showcase for you guys right now is Farhat. As I said, I've mentioned warlords. They're the violent ones. They're the ones who bring the war. So I built him to bring the war. He has Powerhouse because he's the one, his specific task in my community is taking out blood plague hearts. And Powerhouse lets him carry a big weapon and beat the tar out of plague hearts. Just come in, brute force. Brute force ferals, brute force plague hearts, brute force zombies, fighter juggernaut if he needs to. If he doesn't need to, conversely, I gave him stealth. He can sneak in, he can sneak out. He can unlock doors, he can do whatever he needs to do when he's not smashing and being loud. I gave him close combat because if zombies run up on him, I want him to be able to dispose of them. I gave him gunslinging because if a lot of zombies come, close combat becomes kind of not really as flexible. So between Powerhouse and gunslinging, he can shake off the Zeds and do whatever task I've assigned him to do. And lastly, I gave him cooking because at cooking with the specialization in nutrition, he brings in 10 health and 10 max stamina to the community as a passive, which means he's bringing in an even more bonus. He's bringing in a total of 25 max health just on his character card and 10 max stamina passively to the community, meaning while he's out and about just doing what he's supposed to be doing, he's taking care of the community at the same time. Alright guys, that has been 138 minutes of our first tutorial, including lore. If you ignored me for a minute, go ahead and come back in so that we can do this beautiful outro together. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. The winds are up to 55 miles an hour at this point, so management has signaled me that it's time to take a little stream and dream and break. If the winds hold and the power holds and the Wi-Fi holds, we'll be back a little later on after my snack and nap break, because I've got a nasty headache because of the storm that's on top of us. It's been fantastic streaming for you today, guys. If it's hot where you are, get an AC, get a fan on, cool it off, make sure you're hydrating, take care of yourself. It's cold like it is here. Bundle up, get warm, kick on a heater, whatever you need to take care of yourself. Stay safe, crafters. That's our #1 rule on this channel, is safety first in all things. In gaming and in life, keep on crafting, crafters. It's always important to remember your creative side and have those juices flowing. This has been my first tutorial for State of Decay 2, and this is the opening to the community known as the Unbitten. I hope you've enjoyed your time together with us today. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments section of this YouTube video. As always, this has been KittyCraft. KittyCraft out.